Hi guys, how are you doing? How was your weekend? Hopefully it went well. All right, well, hopefully this I've already told you, and you got the email that I sent you that told you that unfortunately I'm not here today because my uncle died, and so I'm actually at the funeral. So I should be back by Wednesday, so that's the plan. Today you guys are going to finish the chapter 5, so you have a couple of videos to watch, and you're going to finish your production schedule. You keep in mind that you should have already turned in your production schedule homework that is due today, so the sub should have already collected that. Your homework is to finish the flashcards, so finish your flashcards, whatever is left. So after the notes today, you should be able to finish those. The extra review sessions I was originally planning for Monday and Tuesday this week obviously aren't happening because I am not there. So I'm moving that to Wednesday. So Wednesday during homeroom and after school, I would especially encourage that for anybody that's still struggling with demand and supply. Your chapter 4 and 5 test will be day 3 this week. So today you're finishing the chapter. Wednesday I will be back and we'll play Kahoot in class, and then Thursday will be your test. So that said, you should have gotten a warm-up that looks somewhat like this, except for the fact that you don't have this last column here. So I wanted to take a chance to be able to go through the answers to this. Okay, so let's check it. So if you remember, and I had the instructions on your warm-up page, it said to take the first 3 columns together. So remember, W is workers, TP is total product, MP is marginal product. So remember, total product is how many airplanes we were able to produce, for example, last week when we had that many workers. Marginal product is going to be how much we were able, each person was able to produce. So at 1 worker, for example, we know that 20 is how many that first worker produced by themselves. And obviously when we had 0 workers, we had 0 items being produced. So in order to figure out how much we totally produced at 1 worker, we're going to add 0 plus 20 to get 20. At 2 workers, we know the second worker produced 25 items all by themselves. And we know the first worker produced 20 items. So to figure out how many they produced together, we're going to simply add 20 plus 25 to get 45. At 3 workers, now I'm switching, and you need to find the marginal product. So total product at 3 workers was 57 items. And so we want to know, and we know that 2 workers produced 45 items. And we want to know how many just the third worker produced. So in order to figure that out, we're going to take 57 minus 45 to get 12. For 4 workers, we know that the fourth worker made 4 items by themselves. We know the third worker, 3 workers together produced 57 items. So together, all 4 workers, you're going to take 57 plus 4 to get 61. At 5 workers, we know all 5 workers together produced 55 items. We want to know how many just the 5th worker produced. So in order to figure that out, we have to take 55 minus 61 to get -6. All right, you with me so far? Hopefully so. So remember, at this point, we can also label the 3 stages of production. I did not ask you to do this as part of your warm-up, so don't freak out if you missed a step. So 3 stages of production, where are they? If we had to label them, we could also label them here. So notice that we're looking at marginal product. For stage 1, we're increasing returns. We're looking at where the marginal product is going to be the highest, and that's going to be our stopping point for stage 1. So stage 1 would be 0 through 2 workers because our marginal product is at the highest point at 25. At 3 workers, this is starting our stage 2, or our diminishing returns, and we'll go through 4 workers because here our marginal product is dropping, but our total product is still increasing. Remember, the big red flag for stage 3 and negative returns is a negative marginal product. Okay? All right, so hopefully you're with me so far. Now we get to the next 3 columns. These are all of our costs. So fixed costs, variable costs, and total costs. Now inevitably I have people like, I can't do this, you didn't give me a fixed cost. Well, remember, you have equations that I gave you last week. What's the only equation that has fixed cost in it? Hopefully you said total costs. Remember, total cost is equal to fixed costs plus variable costs to get total cost. So if you know that, can't you go the reverse? So total cost minus fixed variable costs will give you fixed. And look, I gave you two numbers over here so you can actually figure out your fixed costs. So you know that 49 is how much it totally costs us to produce this item at 2 workers, and variable cost is 24 at 2 people. So fixed costs, all we're doing is 49 minus 24 to get 25. And once we figure it out here, we can fill it in all the way up and all the way down because it's fixed. Remember, this is like rent and utilities. These are things that don't change in the short run. So fill in 25 all the way up and down. Make sure that including at 0 workers, because remember, you have to pay for rent even before you hire any workers. Now we go on to variable costs. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? I don't know. You didn't tell me what the wage is, right? Because variable cost is wage times the number of workers. But I did give you a variable cost, so you can figure it out. So at variable cost at is $24 at 2 workers. So think about that. That's $24 is how much we're paying 2 workers. So how much are we paying 1 worker? 24 divided by 2 will give you 12. So now you know your variable cost of 1 worker, which is also your wage. So now you can multiply. So 12 times 0 is 0. 12 times 3 is 36. 12 times 4 is 48. 12 times 5 is 60. There you go. Now to figure out our total cost, all we're going to do is add across. So at 0 workers, our total cost is 25 plus 0 to get 25. At 3 workers, our total cost is 25 plus 36 to get 61. At 4 workers, our total cost is 25 plus 48 to get 73. And at 5 workers, our total cost is 25 plus 60 to get 85. Now, the last column I did not have on your warm-up, so don't worry about that. We will actually talk about that one today. All right, that's it for the warm-up. Now you're going to actually transition to some notes, so get out your notebook so you're ready for notes. And then lastly, we will finish our last four columns for our production schedule. Remember, I do have email, so let me know if you have any questions.